Hi beautiful souls, it's Antonella. Welcome to my channel, and I'm here today to do an unboxing video. I have recently purchased the Art Nouveau Lenormand, so I will be adding this to my Lenormand collection. I have recently recorded a video of my collection, so I'll put a link to that below so you can check that out if you haven't seen it already, for you Lenormand readers or Lenormand, those of you that are interested in Lenormand. I had this deck on my wish list for a while, and the availability of an Amazon was going down, 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 so I decided to purchase it. If I didn't already say so, it's a Lo Scarabeo deck, and I will break open the cellophane and go right into the box. So normally, I definitely want to say with Lenormand that we do not look at the pictures, and the content and the variations of the artwork should not influence a Lenormand reading. I was doing a Lenormand exercise, actually like a really fast reading. I don't know if you've ever done that with tarot cards, where you get a new deck and you just quite quickly, you have a question and you ask questions, answer, question, shuffle, answer, question, shuffle, answer, like really, really fast. And so I was doing that with Lenormand cards yesterday, and I was asking a weather question. And it happened that what came up, there was snow in the background on one of the cards. And so I wanted to go with the content, the variation of the picture, but I think it's important in Lenormand that you don't do that, and you stick to the, not the prescribed meanings, but the general, the traditional way that Lenormand is read. So we have a ribbon in the box with the book. So I'm sure the cards are smaller, and they'll be, oh no, these are big cards. I wasn't aware of that. So the rider's on that beautiful white stallion, which is really nice to see the horse up and going. Like, it really shows the action, and it's nice to see the rider in movement. So this is quite a large little white book, which normally with Lenormand, if you have a larger reference book that you like, or you've been studying it for a while, these are beautiful pages. These are shiny, glossy pages. And the seam is sewn, so it's not, the spine isn't going to break, which is really unusual in Lenormand, because usually in Lenormand the books are quite a bit smaller. And yeah, so this is in multiple language, which is typical with Lo Scarabeo. And yeah, so this is what you get in this guidebook. So for example, I'll just read the man because that's the page I'm open at. So for the man, it says, male person, yourself or someone else. Descriptors generally just represents person. The aspect is neutral. And then there's a bunch of sample pairs. So there's like quite a few, like 9 or 10 sample pairs for each of the cards. And then let's just go back to the beginning. Divination and Fortune-Telling. So this deck, the artwork is by Antonella Castelli, and the instructions are by Lunaea Weatherstone. And I have a feeling Lunaea Weatherstone is on the Mystic Fairy Tarot. I'm not sure, but I feel like I've read her guidebooks before. Yeah, she must be part of the Lo Scarabeo team. Yeah, so there you go. There's your introduction and your table of contents. So multiple languages. Wow, what is the language at the bottom? Does anybody know? P-Y-C-C-I. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. P-Y-C-C-I. No. Oh, maybe it's Russian. P-Y-C-C-K-U-U. I wonder if that's Polish. I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm going to look that up. Okay, so I'm going to take the cards out. And so the inside of the box, the lifting ribbon, it's always nice to have that. And these are cello wrapped. These are the backs of the cards, which is really pretty. I love the artwork. And like I said, right, it's not, I guess the artwork is important for quickly identifying what the cards are, but it shouldn't, the changes in the artwork shouldn't affect your reading. And You know, maybe, I mean, I'm a firm believer in there's a reason why we choose certain decks. So when you're reading tarot and you have a deck that has, this is really nice cardstock, super nice cardstock. So when you're reading the tarot and you have a variation in a card, and you've chosen that deck on that particular day, and you get that variation, which is not a, which, you know, let's say that all the cards in the deck haven't changed, but there's one or two in every deck that kind of have a special nuance, and you get those cards, well, I think that you need that message. You need the different message today, and so it's really important. But in Lenormand, that's not supposed to matter so much. But there's a part of me that wants to say, yeah, maybe you need that different message today. So I'm just going to scoot up a little closer here. Sorry, I just kicked the table. And there we have the Rider card. Charging forward. And just going to scan, make sure I'm not missing something. No playing card associations. I really think that, or feel that decks with no playing card associations are great once you've learned them. So it's really important to know what they are. At least I feel that way. So this is not the Lady. This is going to be a challenging deck for some people to read because this is not the Lady, this is the Clover. And so here we have the woman, the girl, surrounded by clover. The ship is obviously the ship. So there's also no word on the cards. And it's nice that there's not a whole bunch of multiple languages on the card as well too. And then we have the house. So let's see if the borders vary. Yeah, so the borders, that's kind of pretty. The borders really kind of change card to card, and the borders are kind of part of the theme. There we have the tree, obviously a tree. And the clouds. Is there an obvious light side? Well, I mean, there's a bit of light on this side. There's light in the middle. So that's kind of too bad there's not really a sense of clearing. If there's a sense of clearing, maybe it would be in the card below in this deck. And wow, a very leathery looking snake, super wrapped up, super coiled, not really looking like a winding path. And the coil is sitting on a bunch of crystals, which is interesting. And then here the coffin. So this particular position of the coffin is really nice for direction. You know, you've got, it's kind of a creepy card actually. Look at the figure underneath, and it's like the, I don't think you call it a shroud when it's over a coffin. It appears like somebody has taken the cloth off, and anyway, I'm not going to go there. Here's the bouquet. Again, we have a woman. So you kind of need to know what the cards are. Beautiful iris, bouquet. Also, oh, it appears there's going to be women in a lot of these cards. Also, what was I going to say? So if you're going to go with the meaning of bouquet, meaning an array of things, like a whole bunch of things, having one person in the picture is kind of confusing. And then we have the scythe. We do have a sharp end and a blunt end. And again, we have a beautiful woman in the card with a lion, with a statue of a lion. All right, and then we have the whip and the broom. And the birds. Or the bird. No, there's three birds. There's two birds up at the top. Sorry, sometimes it's hard when I'm looking into the screen at the card to actually see when I haven't seen them before. And here's the child, which is very pretty. The child is Sorry, I can't quite tell in this light what the child is up to. And then we have the fox. That's a nice bear. I like bears. I used to live somewhere where we saw them all the time, and I really like them. This is the stars, not the snow. Looks a bit like snow, but it's the stars. The stork. So the stork is not moving, which is sometimes some people prefer to have a stork card that's moving. The dog. And the tower. The tower looks very isolated, very cold and lonely. And then we have the garden. So this could easily be confused for the tree, except we do have a bench and a table. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, you know, the chalk paintings in Mary Poppins when they jumped into Bert's chalk paintings? That's what it reminds me of. And then the mountain. Wow, that's quite the mountain. To navigate, to get around that one is going to be quite a challenge if you read the card that way. And then we have the path or the paths and the crossroads. So here we have two paths. You can hardly see this one. Oops, here, going over to the side. And then the mice. The heart, so the heart is made from the twig vine and then wrapped with the leaves. And the ring. This will be a deck that you would use that I would use for a particular occasion. Maybe, you know, on a Woman's Day or a day where we were kind of needing the motherly love kind of energy. Definitely would need to be familiar with this deck so that you could quickly look past all the women in the pictures and actually look for the items. So 26 is the book. The book is open and the spine is really not visible here. So the spine is pointing to the right or toward the lady. And then we have the letter. That's beautiful. I love it. Kind of an image of days gone past, you know, where we actually received letters in the mail and enjoyed the experience of reading letters. And here we have the man or the gentleman, or the masculine energy, and then the feminine energy. It's quite the dress. And then the lily, or the lilies. And kind of unusual that there is a woman on this card, because this is, I'm actually going to I'll pull out the king cards, because this is the king of spades. Yeah. So I would think that on the king cards there would not be, there's the sun, that's beautiful. There would not be a woman. And we'll just count how many cards too didn't have a woman on them. So 32 is the moon. The key. The fish. So the fish is a king card, okay, and no woman on the card. The anchor. And the cross. That's actually really pretty. That looks more spiritual, more about faith than burden. Okay, so what I want to do is pull the king cards and just see if, Sorry, I'm just going to pause. I dropped all the cards on the floor. Okay, got them back. So just out of curiosity, I wanted to see if the king cards had women on them, just confirming that. So here we have the bouquet and the lily. So we have the queen, sorry, the queen, the queen and the king of spades. So queen and king of spades both have women on them. And then we have the queen and king of hearts. Okay, so no people on those ones. And then queen and king of clubs, no people. And then queen and king of diamonds, no people. So that's really interesting. And then if we look to the jacks, which are the scythe, the whip, the child, and the heart, we have women or girls in all of those cards. Okay, so if you associate the jack with a more masculine energy, then you've got women or girls in those cards. So kind of an interesting deck. It would be, for me, it would not be something I would use for teaching. It would be something that, like I said earlier, that I would use this deck for, you know, just when I felt compelled to be with this artwork. And the cards are quite big, so this would definitely be a deck that I would use for a 3-card pull. So let's do that. Let's pull 3 cards for today. Today is Saturday, March 2nd, 2019. It's kind of difficult to riffle shuffle the cards. A little bit of a cardboardy element. Yesterday I was doing a bunch of Lenormand readings and I was using the Anna K deck, which is a self-published deck. And it is also, it's obviously smaller. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, in case you haven't seen it, it is smaller. And my thumbs actually were getting quite sore from all the shuffling, riffle shuffling. It does riffle shuffle, but it's quite a thick deck. It's really nice when you're reading professionally and you have a deck that has a little bit thinner cardstock, easier to riffle shuffle if you're doing a whole bunch of quick readings. So let's try that again. Yeah, it's a little bit cardboardy. Okay, so let's think of a question for today. Saturday, March 2nd, 2019. What do you want to know? What is the topic? So we are moving towards spring. We're moving towards, you know, kind of a fresh start, a change, leaving the past behind. So let's go with that. Is there anything that hasn't been cleared that still needs to be cleared at this time? Okay, so I'm not going to go with a significator card. I'm just going to go into, I'm going to cut the cards and I'm going to pull 3 cards and we'll look at them together and just kind of see how they read. So we have the moon, the snake, and the tower. Okay. So we have the moon, the tower, and the snake. So if the moon was the first card, so let's look at that. Let's look at that as something going on with business right now. So there's something in business. The question was, what is there something that still needs to be let go of? Is there something that we are holding on to, and in that holding on to it, you know, is that holding us back? And so we pulled the moon card. So in relationship to business, what is it that you're holding on to? You're holding on to the snake. So are you making things more difficult than they need to be? Could you be taking a direct, instead of, you know, going like this, could you be taking a more direct path in moving towards your goal? Is there some reason that you are, you know, kind of moving like this instead of moving straight forward? And what you have been slowly reluctantly moving away from is the Tower card. So in a sense, so if the Tower card represents a sense of isolation, doing something on your own, if you have been, if this isolation is a bit self-imposed and you are reluctantly moving away from that, maybe you need to move a little more quickly. So that's one of the things that's coming up for me, right? So there's a very much a sense of slowly moving away from the Tower and something to do with your business. The other thing, of course, that is kind of obvious is if there is an affair going on at the office, if there is another woman at the office, then that is something that definitely needs to be let go of, because it is not going to help you with work. It's actually going to be a detriment to your work. So 2 very quick possible interpretations. Of course, there are many more of those 3 cards. Thank you for finding your way to my channel today. Stay well, my friends. Namaste.